Hello, friends. Today I want to talk about the value of handmade objects in a mass-produced world. You walk into any store today and you will see shelves filled with identical products, rows of identical mugs, identical blankets, identical decor pieces, made in factories thousands of miles away. They're efficient to produce, inexpensive to purchase, and easy to replace. Mass production has made many parts of modern life more convenient, yet somewhere along the way, something meaningful has been lost. The objects that surround us today are often designed to be replaced rather than cherished. Handmade objects, though, they tell a different story. They carry traces of the person who made them. They reflect the time, attention, and skill that went into the making of it. In a world that is dominated by speed and automation, the value of handmade objects becomes even more meaningful because they remind us that human creativity still matters. One of the most overlooked aspects of handmade items is the amount of time they contain. Take, for instance, a crochet blanket. It might require dozens of hours. A hand-thrown pottery bowl may take years of practice to master. A carved wooden utensil might involve careful shaping, sanding, and finishing. None of that is visible at first glance, but it's there. Each handmade object represents patience and dedication. Every stitch, brushstroke, or carved line reflects a process that unfolded slowly rather than instantly. Mass-produced items are designed to maximize speed and reduce costs. Handmade work, though, is built around intention. This difference changes how we experience the objects we bring into our homes. When we recognize the value of handmade objects, we begin to appreciate the time and effort that is embedded in them. Another reason handmade items feel different is that they are connected to real people. Behind every handmade piece is a maker, someone who spent time learning a craft, practicing skills, and creating something meaningful. Unlike factory products, handmade work often carries a story. Perhaps the maker learned their craft from a grandparent. Perhaps they discovered it during a difficult season of life. Perhaps they simply found joy in creating something tangible with their hands. When you purchase or receive something handmade, you're not just acquiring another object. You are participating in the story. This human connection adds depth to everyday items. It transforms objects from disposable products to meaningful pieces of craftsmanship. Mass-produced products are designed to look exactly the same. Machines are built for consistency. Every piece should match the one before it. Handmade objects, however, rarely follow this rule. There might be slight variations in color, shape, or pattern. A stitch might sit a little differently. A pottery glaze might settle uniquely on the surface. These differences are not mistake. They're part of the beauty. They are signs that a human hand was involved. In many traditional crafts around the world, these subtle imperfections are actually celebrated. They reflect authenticity and individuality. Recognizing the value of handmade objects requires a shift in perspective. Instead of expecting flawless uniformity, we learn to appreciate the beauty that comes from human creativity. Handmade objects also invite us to slow down. Modern life moves quickly. We scroll through information, consume products rapidly, and often replace things without much thought. Handmade items interrupt that rhythm. They encourage us to pause and consider the process behind what we hold in our hands. When we recognize the care involved in creating something, we often treat it with greater respect. This mindset naturally leads to a more mindful living. Rather than constantly seeking the next new item, people begin to appreciate what they already have. Objects are chosen more intentionally and kept longer. The value of handmade objects lies not in the item itself, but in the perspective it encourages. Choosing handmade items also supports artisans and independent creators. Behind many handmade projects are small businesses, local makers, and individuals who rely on their craft for their income. Supporting handmade work helps support these creative communities. It encourages traditional skills to continue rather than disappear. Crafts such as woodworking, pottery, weaving, and textile work have been part of the human culture for centuries. When we invest in handmade items, we help preserve these skills for future generations. This support extends beyond economics. It also affirms the importance of creativity in everyday life. In a world increasingly shaped by automation and digital experiences, handmade work reminds us that human hands still have a place in creation. Another growing reason people value handmade goods is just sustainability. Mass production often prioritizes speed and volume over longevity. Many items are designed to be replaced quickly. Handmade items tend to follow a different philosophy. Because they require more time and effort to produce, they're often made with durability in mind. Many artisans carefully select materials and craft items meant to last. This approach naturally aligns with a more sustainable lifestyle. Rather than constantly replacing cheap products, people can invest in items designed for long-term use. The value of handmade objects becomes clear when we consider not just the purchase itself, but the lasting impact those items can have. For many people, handmade work often offers something deeper than a physical product. It reconnects us with the act of creating. Human beings have been making things with their hands for thousands of years. Craftsmanship is woven deeply into our history and identity. But modern convenience has distanced many people from that experience. When we engage with handmade items, whether by creating them or appreciating them, we reconnect with a fundamental part of human expression. The simple act of shaping, stitching, carving, or building something tangible carries a unique sense of fulfillment. Handmade objects remind us that creativity is not limited to artists or professionals. It is part of being human. In a world that is filled with automated processes and mass-produced goods, handmade objects stand apart. They represent patience instead of speed. They reflect individuality instead of uniformity. They carry stories instead of anonymity. And importantly, they remind us that meaningful things often require time, care, and attention. The value of handmade objects goes far beyond their physical form. They offer a quiet reminder that human creativity, craftsmanship, and intention still matter. And in a world that often moves too quickly, that reminder may be more valuable now than ever. Thank you for joining me today. Until next time, stay healthy and heart.